Hey y'all, it's Just Melodies coming to you with another vlog of the week. This week we're going to be reviewing Future's new album that dropped, The Wizrd. Future said that this album title is a representation of The Wizard of Oz, so that display of this long road, this long journey, and he wants this album to be a reflection of his growth. If you've already listened to the album, you're going to notice that this album is not feature heavy at all. He only has 2 features. Future said that he purposely did this because recently a lot of his albums have been collaborative albums with other artists. And so he wants this album to be just his voice, and he doesn't want it to be distracted with a bunch of other artists being on the track. He also reveals to us in a recent interview that this is the last album under his current deal and that he just signed a new deal with the new label. All right, so we get to the first song of the album called Never Stop. This is the perfect intro, in my opinion. He kind of tells his story, like his rags to riches story. In this song, he's really transparent. He's talking about that the more money that he gets, the more problems that he has. He basically talks about how he kind of inserts his pain into his music and how music is kind of like an outlet for him in terms of therapy. He's fighting different demons and he's really just trying to get through this thing called life. The production is pretty cool, you know, it's over a really somber beat because it's a really somber tone, and he's just talking about the different struggles that he has to deal with in his life, but he doesn't want to complain because he's also living a really good life as well. Then we get to the next 2 songs, Jumping on a Jet and Rocket Ship. These 2 songs are really maybe filler songs to me. Very simplified beat. In both songs, he's doing a lot of flexing. One song is about jet hopping. The other song is really heavy drug talk. And at this point, you know, it's like, okay, you know, he's been in the game for 10 years. We know that you used to sell drugs. You don't have to keep talking about it. The production in both songs is really basic and very simplified, no complexity in it. And also the lyrics are very like ABC 1, 2, 3. So these 2 songs I didn't really care for. Temptation was produced by Tay Keith. This is another song that's really about their rags to riches. It's about a lot of success. This song kind of gives me a What a Time to Be Alive vibe, and specifically the song Plastic Bag. They sound very similar in terms of the production and the flow. In Temptation, Future talks about that he's not out here just winning for himself, but he's winning for his family. He's winning for his friends, and how he has the same friends that he's had when he was in the hood and doing whatever he was doing then. He has those same friends now. So very similar to that Jay-Z mentality, where he talks about how he has the same friends that he had from the very beginning now, and he mentions Tata a lot. Then we get to Crushed Up, which was produced by Wizrd. This one he's talking about jewelry, money, cars, designer clothes, you know, the usual. So this one is kind of like blah, but this was one of the singles that he released for this album before the album dropped. So at this point, as I'm listening to the album, I'm just like, okay, like when is it gonna pick up? Okay, this is not the Future that I know. It's kind of, you know, giving me mixed vibes. But then we get to the song FNN, which this is probably my favorite song on the album, and I'm gonna call it now. This is the one that the people are going to pick to be on the radio. I guarantee you this song is about to be all over the radio, and Jessica said it first, okay? This song was produced by ATL Jacob, and before the song, I don't know if I've heard of him before, so I looked him up and I'm like, okay, he's signed to Freeband. He's their in-house producer. ATL Jacob is really on fire on this album. He has plenty of songs on this specific album that he produced, and they sounded great to me, especially the song FNN. He kept saying FNN. FNN, and I'm just like, what does that stand for? So I googled it, and apparently FNN is the initials for a gun. So apparently FN is the initials of the designer of a handgun, specifically FN Herstal, I guess. So in the middle of the song, that's when there's a beat change, and then there's a mix of sounds. That is literally my favorite piece of the song. I love when there's a mix of sounds in one single song. So as soon as that beat flips and changes, I'm like, okay, This is cold. Next song is called The Corner, and this one he's talking about how he kind of wants to live the lifestyle of a famous drug lord. And you know, a lot of rappers these days, and not even just these days, I mean back in '96, Jay-Z was talking about the same thing, about this obsession that people have and that rappers have with drug kingpins. Then there's Talk Ish Like a Preacher. This one I didn't really care for as well. It kind of gave me, this is a filler vibe. It was produced by ATL Jacob. It's really fast tempo, but it's okay. It's just okay. The next song is Promise You That. This is probably another one of my favorite songs on the album. It was produced by Take Keith. When I first heard the song, it kind of gave me this R&B vibe because of the production. And it almost made it seem like he should have had a singer singing one of the choruses or something. Like maybe he should have had Chris Brown singing the chorus. And I think that that was probably a missing piece of it because it felt so R&B-ish. Towards the end of Promise You That, it kind of mixes into something else, which once again, I love and probably one of my favorite parts of the song. All right, then there's Stick to the Model. This one was produced by ATL Jacob as well. And this song also gives me What a Time to Be Alive vibes as well. This song kind of made me chuckle because once again, features a very transparent guy. He lives in his truth. And in this one, he's talking about just running through women and how he categorizes his women. There are women where they're just good enough to have sex with. And then he says that he'll pay you afterwards. And so that could be in the form of a Chanel bag. That could be in the form of a new pair of heels. I don't know. But basically a prostitute in so many words. He said in no way does he care about these type of women at all. And then he said that most likely these type of women that he can bag and then buy a Chanel for are usually the type of women that he can then pass along to his homeboys. And I'm just listening to this and I'm like, man, there are really women that are okay in playing that part. And it's just crazy to me. Know your worth, ladies. Know your worth. I mean, but he's honest. What can I say? At this point in the album, I'm just like, yo, ATL Jacob is hungry. He's hungry, and he said that he is going to shine on this album, and I'm not mad at him. Then there's Overdose. The beat in this one is super cold. After each line, Future does this like slight chuckle after each line, like I don't think I'm doing it right, but he does something like that after each line, and I just was cracking up. This song is just about overdosing on tangible things. So, you know, buying 10 cars and 10 chains, and let me wear them around my neck at the same time. So just overdosing on the lifestyle and what the lifestyle brings when it comes to luxury items. Then there's the song Crazy But True. This one is another one that I really like. This one's produced by Wizrd. And in this song, Future is just talking about his work ethic and how he's been in the game for all these years and how, you know, new rappers come into the game, they bite off his style, i.e. Designer, who's from New York, and how a lot of these rappers sound like him. It's crazy but true. Future talks about how he doesn't trust industry people and how he's pretty much made it this far without having to kiss anybody's butt, and he's remained true to himself. Crazy But True is another song where Future talks about how he uses drugs to kind of numb the pain and numb whatever's going on around him, and that's how he gets through. In Serving Killer Cam, Future kind of mimics this Ray Shremmerd sound where he uses this high register voice when he's rapping. Baptized is another song that kind of mixes the beat, mixes sound, and he actually samples a previous song that he did in this one. In Unicorn Perp, we get to the first song where we see the first feature, and that's with Thugga and Gunna. Unicorn Perp was produced by ATL Jacob, and this is also one of those songs where I didn't really care for it. For this to be the first song where it was a feature, it's almost like it didn't do it for me. It's almost like he could have saved it, and this could have been one less song or a song where he could have just been on it himself. The next song, Going Dummy, produced by Wizrd, falls under the same umbrella as well. The next song, First Off, is the second and final feature with Travis Scott. It's always funny because when you hear a song with Travis Scott on it, you always know that Travis Scott is on it. The sound is very much like Travis. The production is very much like Travis. And so it's amazing how he can come on someone else's song and kind of demand that presence of him being there. The next two songs, Face Shot and Ain't Coming Back, once again, okay, he could have kept it. And Ain't Coming Back, Future talks about, the women that he's come across that are real shiesty. He talks about how once friends have turned to enemies. And also this is another one where he's talking about his frequent drug use. So now we get to the last song of the album, Tricks on Me, where this is another song where Future is being pretty transparent. In this song, he's talking about how he gave his love to some woman and she gave it away. He talks about how his ex is playing tricks on him. And I'm just like, yo, are you talking about Sierra in this one? Because Future, you were just talking about how much of a savage you were and how you ain't loving these women out here. But now you telling us how you've loved some woman and she gave the love away. So, he's got to be talking about Sierra, right? My favorite takeaway from this song is when Future talks about how you can't allow the things that you can't control to kind of throw you off your rocker and throw you off balance. And I really related to that. So now that we've made it through the whole album, I must say that I was slightly disappointed. This was not Future's best work. It's not an album that I would want to listen to in its entirety. I do have my favorite songs, but it just doesn't push the envelope for me in terms of creativity. So I'm gonna rate this album a 5 out of 10. Make sure you leave your comments below and let me know what you think. Would you rate the album the same as I did? Would you rate it lower? Would you rate it higher? Also, if you like this video, make sure you click up that thumbs up sign, share it to all of your social media pages, but also, most importantly, subscribe. Thanks for watching, y'all.